This is sensational. This event seems to get bigger and bigger every year. Damon, you were here last year. How does it compare?
The event is fantastic, and the team put on a brilliant packaging all this and getting this a lot of work, isn't it, to get it all together. So yeah. I think there must be quite a lot of enthusiasm here that makes all this happen.
Thierry, welcome to the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. We're thrilled to have you. How are you enjoying it so far?
Well, it's a great pleasure to be here. I mean, it's very emotional for me because last time I was here was in 1992. I won the race in '89, which was for me one of the highlights of my career, my racing career, and be back here on the racetrack that I really love, and I love the whole situation here, the city, the people, the way we are welcome here, and it's great event, great to be here.
And you raced in the first Australian Grand Prix in Adelaide in 1985.
That's right.
Yeah, what was your impressions when you first turned up here and saw the circuit?
Well, I was really amazed by the circuit. I mean, the design is really nice. It was a street circuit, very difficult circuit, very, let's say, complicated to set the car up for this place. But I really loved it. I mean, I love when it's difficult and taking challenges like driving on a street circuit is more challenging than on a normal open circuit. That's one point. And then driving in the wet like I did in '89 was also something really special. We couldn't see a thing during the race going down the straight at 300 kilometers an hour. I had a cloud in front of me when there was a car in front of me, so I couldn't see a thing, just looking at the side of the road to see where I was, more or less. It was sometimes frightening, but manageable.
Frightening, but manageable. That's a racing driver right there, isn't it, Damon?
Yeah, I think... is that working? Yeah, I can understand exactly what Thierry's saying. I mean, it is... The worst bits are the straights because, of course, the spray is so big on the straight because the car's going so fast, and you cannot see what is in that cloud. And of course, they did have a few cars hit each other. I think it was Martin Brundle went in the back of Ayrton, or Ayrton went in the back of him, or something. Yeah.
Nelson went in the back of somebody, and then.
Yeah. But you avoided all of that.
Yes, but there was a thing that I learned at the beginning of the race is that. Listening to the car in front of me, if you don't see it, you know when it's backing off. And then when it's backing off, you think, oh, maybe the time to brake now. So that's how we could figure out how to avoid accidents.
Yeah. And Damon, yourself, 94 and 95, a really tale of two different things happened to you on the streets of Adelaide. 94 was the big incident with Michael Schumacher, and then 95 you come back and won it.
Yeah, it's a funny thing because the 94 accident was so famous, or was it infamous, that it actually kind of drew a lot of people into the sport. A lot of people started paying attention. It was news around the world. You know, this is how the Formula One Championship was decided. What do you think of that? And so it was on the one hand disappointing not to win the championship, but on the other hand it was it kind of left an interest in how things were going to go from there on. So ultimately, I managed to come back and win the race, but I didn't win the championship. So, but nevertheless, it set me up. Adelaide played an important part, I think, in my career development.
And 94, as you say, it's absolutely infamous, and I think I actually really like to hear it from your perspective. So take us through that race in 1994 and how much of just a challenge it was for you, and then how, as you say, it set you up for 95 to really take on that challenge of a new season.
Well, I suppose that it all started with Imola, the 94 season, because there was this awful thing that everyone knows about, with losing Ayrton Senna and Roland Ratzenberger, and then I was thrown into a championship battle that I wasn't really thinking I was going to be involved in. And a nice place to be, but sadly it was because Ayrton wasn't there, who was my teammate. So anyway, I fight Michael Schumacher, we go to Japan, I kept the championship alive, we come here, and there's a huge amount of interest because the championship have to be decided here. So Nigel Mansell was back, and he had qualified in front of me on the front row, I think, next to Michael. And but when we left the grid, basically we left everyone behind, and it was just me and Michael. And lap after lap, it was getting closer. Then it was opening up a bit. I got stuck behind a back marker, and then I closed up a little bit. And I closed up enough. I think maybe I put a bit of pressure on Michael. And we went up, I can't remember the name of the streets, but anyway, he turned right, and I couldn't see. Once he turned around the corner, I couldn't see him. So I never saw him hit the wall when he came back onto the track. I just came around the corner and I saw Michael struggling to get grip. And I went, right, I'm going to try and go. I went one way, and then he blocked me that way. And then I thought, he's clearly in trouble. So I dove down the inside, only I didn't quite make it all the way. I didn't make it all the way through. Thierry, what do you think of that move? Tell me, as another racing driver, what did I do wrong?
I would have done exactly the same. Yeah. Fighting like this on a racetrack is sometimes very tricky. You know what to expect from the other guy, but sometimes happens things that you cannot control, and you go for it, and it's too late when you can never stop it. When you see it's too late and you hit it, you have a small accident like this, and spectacular. Luckily, nobody's hurt, but that's racing, you know. You're driving very fast. You have to take decisions within milliseconds all the time. I mean, that's life of a racing driver. When you're in the race, it's decision after decision after decision. Every millisecond there's something to do and to decide. So sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it a little bit wrong, and that's...
And doing it with incredible forces on your body as well. It's just, it's mind-boggling when us mere mortals try to understand what you go through. But it's exactly what Senna said. If you're not going for the gap, if you're not going for it, you're not racing anymore.
Well, that's a famous quote of Ayrton's,
yes.
but actually people misquote him. Because what he said was, if you don't go for a gap that's there, you're not a racing driver.
Yeah.
And if the gap's not there, you don't go for the gap. Yeah. So obviously with a benefit of hindsight, I would have waited and waited to see Michael pull off the track before I would try to overtake him. But anyway.
You would have mined the gap.
Yes.
The non-gap, yeah.
There wasn't a gap. Well, by the time he closed it, there wasn't a gap.
Yeah.
Well, that's racing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see, we've been talking for 5 minutes about this, but he had to take a decision within a millisecond there. So that's a big difference between doing it and talking about it, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. But let's please talk about the cars that you've been in this weekend. I think it's been lovely to see the Adelaide Motorsport Festival does this all for us. We're able to reconnect with cars that from yesteryear, and that's the same for you both as well. So you've been in the Brabham BT60B, which was your first Formula One car, and you've been in a Benetton B190. Have I got that correct? Yes. I got all my numbers right. Fantastic. Which is another Grand Prix winner. So it's two Grand Prix winners met.
It was a big honor for me to be able to drive this car. It's a fantastic car. The car won in 1990, 1 year after me winning with the Williams Renault. And when I sat in the car is great, performing very well. The engine's very strong, gearbox perfect, the braking, I mean everything. It's like the car was in 1990, I guess, and I understand why this car won the race. They were driving it yesterday.
Yeah. It's still got traction control and everything as well, so that's good.
Couldn't help himself there. And Damon, yes, you reunited with your first Brabham. So, yes, talk us through what that's been like for you.
So, I was test driver for Williams in 92, and you would have thought that would be enough, but I wanted to get out there and race, and the opportunity came up with Brabham. There was a young lady from Italy called Giovanni Amati, and she couldn't find the money, sadly. So they thought, well, we'll put him in. And so I basically got the drive, and I qualified the car at Silverstone. And another Belgian, Eric van der Poel, unfortunately, I sort of used up a few too many laps, and he didn't have enough chance to, because we were sharing the car. Yeah, anyway, so Eric was a bit upset with me, but anyway, I qualified the car. And then we went through we went to Monaco, we didn't qualify. The next race we qualified was Hungary, but that was the last time the car ever competed. I did Silverstone. I got lapped 5 times by Nigel Mansell. That's how slow the car was. Or it was either that was me, I don't know, one of the two. But the irony was I was testing the car that Nigel drove. So I knew that car he was driving, I could have driven that car. Oh. So it kind of penny dropped that I really need to get my hands on that car, not the Brabham.
But yes, that is quite funny, isn't it? You're looking at it going, I know what that car's capable of. That's very frustrating. But yes, obviously being on the streets of Adelaide in a Brabham again, talk us through what that's been like this weekend driving the car.
Yeah, it's fantastic that they can get it running, and the owner was very generous and letting the car run. and the mechanics did a great job putting it together. And I did a few laps, and I'll be honest, my neck was starting to go at the hairpin. I was starting to feel like, oh God, this has got quite a lot of grip. And I basically pressed on best I could. But even when I was driving in '92, I couldn't get a first and second because there's no room in the car. It's got a gear lever. It's not paddle shift. And my leg gets in the way. So I was having real trouble changing gear in there.
Oh, wow.
But it reminded me that I don't want to go back and do racing anymore. So
that was my next question. So let's talk about the current Formula One. Of course, we know 2026 is going to look completely different to what 2025 currently is going to look like for everyone, really. We're talking to Crofty, and he was saying that it's going to take so much for everyone to wrap their heads around. So let's just stick with 2025 for a second. We're all very excited for the season to kick off next week. Damon, I know there's so many different storylines to play out, but from your perspective, any predictions, any things that we should all be focusing on as well?
I think it's a very unwise man that would make a prediction at this stage.
Yes.
I mean, I know that testing would indicate that McLaren are happy, but you just don't know with testing. It's very misleading. And we have a lot of shuffling around, a lot of drivers. There's young drivers that will be their first full season, but you got Kimi Antonelli, unknown quantity really, on a full season. We don't know where his trajectory is. George Russell at Mercedes as well. Can they fix the problems? They were quick at times, but not all the time. Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton. I mean, it's a big story, huge story, and they don't look that uncompetitive either. And Max have Red Bull slightly dropped below the peak of the curve. Are they a less competitive team? Can they overcompensate for that with Max driving? You know, these things are... We saw a lot of unknowns, and I think that's really good.
Yeah, oh, it absolutely is. Thierry, what's your take on the current F1 paddock?
At this time of the year, it's very difficult to predict anything. I mean, the winter testing, I've done it many times. I've spent 10 years in F1, and each winter was the same thing. Everybody testing, testing different things on the cars, but you don't know what the competitivity of the car is. I mean, some people can drive really, really good times, but you don't know how they did it, why they do it, I mean, in what conditions. So, but that's the good thing about the winter. I mean, there's the question marks everywhere. I mean, the first race we will see who was right, who was wrong.
And of course, the rookies are going to be there's so many of them. Is there anyone that you, in particular, that you see that could really impress us this year?
Well, at this time, no. It's impossible. There's too many of them and too many good ones, and too many. They've all proven to be race winners. So it's impossible to say. We will watch the first race with big interest, see what Hamilton will do with the Ferrari, see what Max and all the others how they will perform, how the cars will perform, how the teams will perform. It's going to be a long season, many, many races. So we will see. I mean, I'm watching this on TV from home and enjoy watching it like that, yeah.
I was going to ask, obviously be a former F1 driver yourself. Do you kind of sit on your hands and go, oh my gosh, I'd love to be in one of those cars?
No, but I've done it enough, and I like to see the other people play a little bit with it now. So, no, but it's good racing. It's very interesting. The way Formula One goes, it's more excitement, more teams getting very, very close to each other. So it's good. It's good for racing.
Hi, I'm John. Welcome to Adelaide, Damon and Thierry. Great to have you back. Look, my question is for Damon. With the development of biofuels, do you see that is going to precipitate the end of the hybrid era, or the use of batteries in Formula One cars?
So I'm not sure if you're aware, but I'm one of the early investors in Zero Petroleum. Zero Petroleum is not a biofuel. It's a totally synthetic fuel made from sequestering carbon out of the atmosphere and combining it with hydrogen to make hydrocarbons, so completely from scratch. So Paddy Lowe likes to say that no dinosaurs were killed in the making of this petroleum. Of course, that's quite different. With biofuels, you're using stuff that... the problem with it is that it's agriculture or waste food products or whatever is used to add to the fuel. And so I think it's ethanol or whatever. But anyway, they're going to have a greater percentage of renewable, non-fossil, I should say, fuel in the car. Is that something that will disappear if they, change from hybrids? I think that the future is very uncertain at the moment. We just don't know. I mean, you've got Donald Trump saying, drill, baby, drill. I don't know where that's going to leave the move to reduce carbon in the atmosphere. But I think it's clearly a responsible thing to do and use Formula One as a test bed for technologies that could be beneficial to everyone, and also do a bit of work to help clean up the environment. But I don't know, I'm going on a bit, I'm sorry, it's a long answer because it's quite complicated, but in the UK they're pushing for full electric. Now, I don't know if that works in Australia because you've got such enormous ranges you're talking about of driving. In the UK it's quite a small country, so full electric is not that unfeasible, but that would mean there's no biofuel or fuel. And the reason they want electric is because of pollution. So we don't want to be putting any unburnt fossil fuels or renewable fuels into the atmosphere in towns and cities. So that would negate any argument over whether it's a synthetic fuel or a biofuel. It doesn't matter, or a fossil fuel. They're going to get rid of them in the UK. Whether they'll change their mind in the next 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, I don't know. But there's a good chance, and they already have mentioned that they might be looking in Formula One at going back to normally aspirated engines and getting rid of the hybrid altogether. So, but that's a long way off, and nobody really knows. But Thierry's an expert in this, aren't you? You know about all this stuff.
No, not at all. I mean, it's
what a shame.
well, there's been so many changes, so many ideas, so many pluses and minuses. We don't really know what is behind all this. I mean, there's a lot of political influences more than technical, and more than the reality is very different to what people decide what to do. They have no experience, and I think there should be a little bit more thinking about it before deciding to go one way or the other. Of course, Formula One is a very good test bed for all this. Once they decide to go one way, they should continue and develop until they find the final solution for that. But what is really the future for saving the planet? I'm not sure how to do it at the moment.
Well, thank you. Very insightful question, sir. Well done.
Hi, I'm Michael. This is for both of you. What is any tips for anyone trying to get into F1, and also what was it like racing with Ayrton Senna?
To get into Formula One, you need to. Well, it's a long way. It's not easy. Not easy at all. You need to be racing from very early on. Learn how to drive. Learn how to fight with other people, and develop your skills. Develop your the way you understand the car to set it up. And it's a long fight, and it's really hard work. 24 hours per day, 7 days a week. That's only by hard work you can achieve that. And racing against Ayrton Senna. Senna was my best friend in Formula One. He was we were very, very close. In fact, Ayrton should have been the godfather of my second son, but he died a few days before Cedric was born. So that we were that close. And racing against him was something really special. He was for me, he was at a different level to everybody else. He had something more, something that nobody else could fight against. I mean, this capability of driving almost anything quicker than anybody at any time was something that really brought a lot of admiration to not only to the other drivers but to the public, and that's why it's so famous still today. I mean, if you go anywhere in the world and you ask who was the Formula One champion, they will say Senna. They will not say Fangio, they will not say Schumacher, they will say Senna. And that made the difference.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Damon?
No, I think that Thierry summed it up. The only thing I will say is that in my first year with Williams, and we were racing at Donington, it was raining, and Ayrton made that fantastic start. And every time I look at the replay of it now, I kicked myself because I thought, why did I let him go so easily? And I think it was like, I'm too busy, and he just saw a gap, and like we were saying before, I must have left a gap that was there, and he went through it, and there he was off. I never saw him again.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Daniel. Gentlemen, thank you for coming back to Adelaide for the event. My question to you both, I know your careers were either side, of course, of Adelaide during and before and after, but look, my question is, who would you, in terms of wheel-to-wheel racing, want to go up against one-on-one around the Adelaide Street Circuit if you had the chance? And what would be your favourite Formula One car to do it in?
So who would I want to race against round out? I don't want to race anyone. Sorry, Thierry, but I mean, it's horrible when you've got all the others trying to beat you. It's much nicer when you've got the track all to yourself.
There's something you need to do for a stage. To be competitive and to fight for the World Championship is something that you can only do for a certain period of time. Once you retire from that, you can do some enjoyment races like Goodwood, like auto race or Masters, historic races, but not to the same level for sure. So I'd like to race against anybody, but at my speed.
Would you like to race me?
Okay, you want
I think we had a race yesterday.
I'll take the Benetton, you take the...
Yeah, no, I'm taking that one.
Yes, I know which car you want to do it in, absolutely.
I'm Charles, of course, and question for Damien and Thierry. You've raced some absolute legends, but is there any drivers in the current grid that could be comparable, either personality or driving, to maybe the likes of Damon Hill or Ayrton Senna, possibly comparable to maybe Max or Charles?
So yeah, comparing drivers is an interesting one, isn't it? Because you can sort of look at it and kind of go, he's a bit like this other driver, their style. And I would say that there are similarities between the way Michael raced and Max races. Full commitment, ruthless. So you might say they're of a similar type. The kind of, I would say, the artist drivers. Obviously, Thierry's an artist driver, and Jackie Stewart and Alain Prost. It seems he's Jenson Button. They make it look easy, and they don't look. And then there's the Nigel Mansell, who is perhaps in the Keke Rosberg, Alan Jones category of. You can feel the kind of machismo coming out in the car, but I don't know. I don't know what category I fall into. I will say that whenever I try to drive like anybody else, I couldn't do it. I had to drive like I did it. So trying to copy someone else is not a good thing to do, I don't think.
It's not a good solution, that's for sure. Each driver has got his own character, his own history in racing, also his own experience. I like to have a car which is very docile, no oversteer, a little bit of understeer. It's a setup that works very well almost everywhere. But some people like to have oversteer, some people, some like to have a very nervous car. I didn't want that. So you cannot compare. The setup of each car, even the same team, they were always different by small quantities sometimes, by big quantities some other times, but always different because you adapt it to yourself, to your way of driving the car, which is different to the other people. Everybody is different, and we are not machines. We are human beings, and we set up the car the way we want, and we try to drive it the best we can, but it's impossible to copy someone else.
Thank you both very, very much. Thank you, Charles. Okay, I think that is all for us for the Q&A section of this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please show your appreciation for Damon Hill and Thierry Boutsen. Thank you both very, very much, gentlemen. So insightful. Truly appreciate your time.
Pleasure being here. Thank you very much.
I just want to say also, echo what Thierry was saying. It's been a fantastic reception. So thank you, Adelaide. Thank you, all the race fans. That made me feel very welcome. And remember us racing all those years ago.
Certainly will. Thank you. Round of applause once more. Thank you.